So today I want to review my latest modification. Now, one of the things I'll say about my modifications in my 2018 Toyota Tundra Platinum is that the bulk of my modifications have been functional things. You can change things out very easy, as I did with the radio, as I've done with some other things on the exterior, and functional for me to use this truck in the way that I want to use it. And certainly you're able to do that with yours if you have a Tundra as well. And so all my stuff I generally want to be functional. Now today we're going to kind of skirt the line between functional and cosmetic. I am not a hater of all things chrome. I drive a 2018 Toyota Tundra Platinum, and it is trimmed out with chrome on the exterior, and I actually think it looks pretty good with the magnetic gray metallic, but I don't think it necessarily looks as good with black. I don't think it looks as good with white, and that's just my preference. Each of us has our own preference, but what I am going to change out today are these little chrome inserts and bevels, chrome bevels around the vents here that we have. I'm going to change out the chrome down here on the cup holder, and the reason I'm doing that is because those things actually hit me in the eyes, as does this little surround here around the gear shift. And in doing that, I'm also going to change this piece right here, because as I change this one out into something solid and black, I think this would look kind of funny staying this color, and so I'm going to match it to the other things. And then I'm also going to change out this shift lever. What we're going to start with here is I've got my little handy staple puller here, and I'm going to use my staple puller covered in this cloth to help lift up and get rid of this piece right here. What we're going to do is we're going to pry it into this little gap right here that you see right there, and we're going to put it into this little gap. I'm going to see if we can pop that up and pop that forward. Now before we do that, we're going to have to take this shift handle off, so let's go ahead and do that. Nothing too difficult about that. That's actually the first time I've ever loosened that, and that thing comes off very, very easy. Okay, with that guy out of the way, I've got, you can see my staple puller here. I've got that wedged in, and I'm just going to see, this first time I'm giving this a try, just see if I can kind of pop that guy up. It's coming up, as we can see. Go down a little further. Let's see where we're at there. It looks like it's loosened up pretty good here. I can lift my finger underneath it. You can see how it's lifted up on this side. Let's go ahead and do it on the other side. So this is our piece upside down. Here it is right side up. So first thing we're going to look at, and you can see this AJT Designs has a good explanation of this, but this piece right here, it just has some tabs, and you basically just push those tabs and pop that out. I'm going to go ahead and do that now and just pop those tabs out. This piece couldn't have come out any more simple. It was sitting right here. Squeeze these little tabs and it pops free very easily. Now it's not going to be as easy with this other piece. It has some little plastic welds here. It looks like there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. That might be number 6 right there, it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and drill those out. They say to use a 1/4 inch drill bit. I think that's probably a little big, and it's going to be tough to get to sit and rest on this plastic weld. So I'm probably going to start with something like a 1/8 first, just to give me a little start hole. And you just want to make sure you punch through to the other side. You can kind of see my finger going underneath here between where this silvery colored plastic piece sits right here and where this is. And so I'm just going to drill these out. You can see here I've actually started with 5/64, and you can see I'm just going to drill that just a little bit, that far, and then come back out with it. If you look, toughen the light right there. There you can see the little hole that I put right there. We're going to go ahead and do the rest of them, this little 5/64 size. So we've got these off, and the first thing I'm going to tell you is this piece right here. It did have a little bit of a stick attachment. It also has a couple tabs that you have to push as well. It's not quite as easy as the other piece to get off, but it's still not complicated. You drill out the holes first, and you can see the holes right here and here and here and up here that we drilled out. And not quite as easy as the other one, but it did go ahead and work pretty well. The other thing we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to drill some holes in this one that match up to the piece that goes into that position. So what we're going to do is get that piece, put it there, and drill those holes. So this is the piece that goes into that position. You can see it here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of put it into space there, and then make sure it's kind of sitting firmly. And while it's sitting firmly through each of these holes right here, I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole through each of those. Okay, so we got this piece in, and I'm going to tell you, I am not, I'm a pretty average sized guy. I'm 6 feet, 200 pounds. I will tell you that you better have some pretty small hands when you put these things in, or at least some small hands available, or some somebody nearby. Now it is a 7/16 size nut that screws onto the bolt on the back here, but getting that thing in by these little tabs right here is about impossible. And what you've got to do is hold that nut in place while you turn it over here on the other side with the little Allen wrench. It did go ahead and go on there, and it didn't take terribly long, but it was just a little bit tricky, and you definitely want to be someplace where you got a clean floor, that if you drop one of these things, you can find it when you're done. One of the things I noticed with mine is I drilled out because I do have the Platinum and it does have leather, you can see right here how it scuffs that leather just a little bit. That will be hidden, but you can see what I did with this spot right here. Let me get there. See what I did with this spot right here is I took a black Sharpie, this guy right here, and I went ahead and blacked that up, and I'm going to do the same thing here just to make sure it stays a little bit more hidden. So here this is completed. Here are the two black pieces, the inserts around the gear shifter, around the cup holders. That's how they'll go back in. We're going to go ahead and get ready to put these back in, but before we put them back in, we're going to put that surround for the shifter in as well. There literally is nothing special about this piece. It actually is a snap-in piece. You just get the gear shifter off. You don't actually have to remove the rest if you're just doing this piece. It just goes over, and then it will just snap down into place here, just like that. And you just make sure that it's down and firmly pressed into where you want it. And you'll hear it kind of click like that. And as it snaps, that whole thing is down, and now that chrome that was reflecting into my eyes is gone. So this piece is all back in now, and this just couldn't go in any easier. It slides up front and just pushes down to snap back in, and push down like that, and you can hear it click, and you can hear that last snap click, but it all clips back into place. So far, I think this is looking a whole lot different and pretty interesting. Definitely looks like I'm gonna get less reflection when we actually have some sunlight. Now the rings are pretty simple. They push right into place like that. You can see the one I haven't done here. You push it into place. The first thing you do is you take off this 3M backing off it, and I'm going to take that 3M backing off and show you what that looks like without it. Before I do it, I did follow the video from AJT Design, and I ran my thumb all the way across it to make sure it was pushed down well before I lift the back. What I do is a little pair of tweezers or a little tiny screwdriver, and you just lift this piece right like that, and then once you lift it, you can go ahead and just peel that right out of there like so, and then you've got a piece that you can just stick into place. What I want to do is make sure I get this set up at about 12 o'clock where I want it, and so I want that piece not quite there. I want it more like that right there, and then what I'll do is firmly push around it, and then I've got this one here and this one here, and we've taken away again a little bit more of that chrome, a little bit more of that reflective material. And so here it is, all kind of completed out in the garage, and we'll check it out in the daytime, which is really what I'm concerned for. But as you can see, the vents, they're now all have the black rings on them. If we look down here, everything's blacked out. The two surrounds here are blacked out. The inner surround here is blacked out. And then the last thing is, well, it's got these two stop nuts on it, and as you can see, the two stop nuts, I've just turned those down by hand. I've hand tightened them till they completely stop. And then the last piece is the shift knob here. Now the shift knob comes with these little nuts and bolts, and it actually came with one extra one, and I'll show you that one extra one. So you can see, I'll hold it up here, that little tiny nut. So I got one extra one. Hopefully I don't drop that. and little tiny Allen wrench to tighten these down. I'm not sure why they don't pre-install them for you, but they did send me one extra one just in case I dropped it, but they're all in there now. And so once I've got those tightened down, and then this just goes on like this and just rotates down as it starts to get a little bit snug there. I'll hand tighten it so that it doesn't want to slip. You know, probably about 2 fingers tight, maybe just a little bit, maybe 3 fingers tight there, but nice and tight. And now here is our look, and we can, fingers out of the way, now here's our look of what we have inside, and you can see we've got a lot less reflective. So in the light of day, here are the changes in my 2018 Toyota Tundra Platinum. These are, you know, now blacked out with AJT Designs hardware, as we have the shift knob. We have the surround here around the gear shift, and we have the surround around the cup holders, and then we have the insert surround around the shifter, and then all of the vents redone in black. Should decrease some of our glare that we get from the sun, and so far I'm liking the way it looks in the daylight. So here's a good look at the final product after the install. As I see it completed, I really do like it, and I really do enjoy it. If you've done something similar, if you've used AJT Design for a similar interior dechrome, tell us about it. Did you go with one of the alternative colors? Go ahead and hit subscribe, go ahead and hit comment. I really appreciate that because it allows me to figure out what videos to show in the future, and it also helps the rest of the community with knowledge from people with experience.